everybody, and welcome to another episode here on Milwaukee Beer Review. As always, I'm Josh.
And I'm Ross.
And we are bringing to you, for the third year in a row, the Deconstructed dessert series from Third Space Brewing Company. Now, the last couple of years, we've done this in two separate episodes. This year, we're like, let's just crush them all one shot. So we're going to do that here today. We've, we waited until we were able to acquire all of the releases this year. If you're not familiar with the Deconstructed dessert series, this is now the third year in a row that they've done this, where they basically take a dessert and they basically take all the different adjuncts that would ultimately make that final beer that we're going to drink here, and they split that up into different releases. So you get to kind of try the beer as it grows and see what it tastes like with just a single adjunct in these beers, starting with the base with no adjuncts.
I think this is a cool one for us because we, as we do this, we try to pick up different flavors and notes as you're trying to try different beers. So this allows you to actually try the individual adjuncts with the base beer to get to the basic mudslide at the end, and you can try to pick out, like, okay, there's this, there's that, I tasted that, so I can taste this. So it's actually kind of a cool way to, like, learn and develop your palate as you drink these types of beers, as opposed to just someone taking a bunch of different adjuncts, throwing it in and saying, here's a pastry stout. It's a really well-made, a really well-constructed idea in beer. So.
Yeah, and ultimately what they do, right, is they take all these different barrel-aged versions with the adjuncts, and then they blend it to get that final beer. So the cool thing is, you get to kind of get a taste for what those individual beers tasted like and how they got to that final flavor, and maybe pick out some of those components that you wouldn't be able to find earlier. So these are big beers. These come in at 13.5% ABV, all 6 of them. So we are going to have fun today. And these are aged in 10-year Jim Beam barrels this year. So an interesting barrel. You don't hear Jim Beam all that often. So kind of neat to try that out and see what we think here. So without further ado, let's dive into the Mudslide. So the first one we've got here is the base beer. So this is the base Imperial Stout aged in Jim Beam barrels, 10-year Jim Beam barrels. No adjuncts, just an Imperial Stout. So let's check it out to the nose. Got to sniff it.
You gotta sip it.
Heavy bourbon note.
Yeah.
On the nose.
Yeah. I mean, that smells good. That's exactly how you want this to smell.
Smells like a barrel-aged stout.
All right.
All right, check it out. Cheers.
Oh, man, that's good.
It is. Just that perfect amount of bourbon, stout sweetness. There's that little bit of that, kind of smoky stout punch out the back. It's just a solid beer. It's a good base, and I think it's been a good base all 3 years we've tried this series. Yeah. It's been a good base.
We drink so many stouts, barrel-aged stouts that have some adjuncts and everything. It's just you forget just how good just a basic barrel-aged stout can be, and this is really well done. So
yeah.
And to your point, for a base, it leaves itself room to grow. It allows other flavors to come out of it.
Mm-hmm. You get a lot of the traditional barrel characters out of this too. The bourbon is there. You get a little bit of that vanilla, chocolatey character out the back too. So I know that vanillin comes out of the barrels, as I learned when I was at Third Space for the barrel-aged beer class. So good stuff. Yeah, actually really like this. Good base.
All right. So we're moving on. Nothing really new to say to this one. This one just has peanut butter. So
same base beer, but with peanut butter in it. Give it a little shot here.
So peanut butter is there. It's pretty subtle though. It's actually not overpowering or pungent. It's there, but it's not as much as you'd think it would be.
I'm not smelling the peanut butter on the nose really at all. In fact, this is even lighter on the nose than the base was to me. I got a lot more bourbon on the base. This one,
I'm getting
maybe a little bit of peanut butter. As I'm getting in there, a little bit. Yeah, okay, it's there. But it is definitely subtle. I hope it comes out more on the palate than it does on the nose.
And the cool thing about this, and we're going to kind of get to this later, but as you start to drink these, it kind of gives you an idea what to expect in the final product. I don't think you're going to get a heavy overflowing of peanut butter in the. We'll see how we taste it, but based on the nose, doesn't seem like this will be the major component of the drink.
The interesting thing, though, is if you go back and watch our previous videos on this series from the first year, which was mocha pie, the second year, which was German chocolate cake, we got that quite a bit. Often we would smell...
Yeah.
What we would get on the nose was a lot tamer than what we got on the palate.
That's fair. So we should
see what we get
try
here.
before we start saying it.
We should.
Cheers.
Cheers. Okay.
Ooh. That just keeps going.
It does.
So it's a heavy of the base up front, but that peanut butter hits in the middle end of the palate, and it just lingers in a really good sweet way. And I think the barrel aging kind of tames down the harsh sweetness. So it's real smooth.
It doesn't taste like kind of that nasty PB2 powder peanut butter either. It's a good peanut butter flavor. To your point, it hits about mid palate, and this really kind of turns into the comparison I would have on the palate is like a dark chocolate Reese's peanut butter cup. Is kind of what I get out the back
I
end
get
of
what
it.
you're saying. So, to your point, it's more on the palate than it is on the nose. I mean, it's very subtle on the nose, but it's pretty heavy in the palate.
That's good. That's tasty.
That's tasty. That's really good. All right, moving on.
Moving on. So we've got the chocolate next. So again, same base beer here. Only adjunct in this third one is going to be chocolate. So let's get a little nose on that one. Ooh. Ooh. Hey. You can't hear him licking, but I can. Interesting.
So similar to peanut butter, it's there, but the chocolate's pretty subtle. It's not overpowering, it's not overbearing, but it's there on the palate. But if you didn't tell me this was a chocolate, I don't think I would pick it up without knowing. So.
And I'm not really, well, there's a little bit of a bourbon note to the nose. Maybe a light cocoa, like a light Hershey's cocoa-ish note.
All right.
It's light. All right, check it out.
Cheers.
Cheers. It's just like the peanut butter.
Yep. It's sweeter, what you expect with the chocolate. It's sweeter. It's not desserty sweet, but it's definitely sweeter.
Yeah, not desserty sweet, but it hits just like the peanut butter, right? You get bourbon up front, mid palate, those kind of cocoa-y Hershey's cocoa chocolate characters kind of kick in, and that's what you get out the back with the base.
Yeah.
It's tasty.
Yeah, it's good.
It's not hefty though, you know? It's very drinkable. It's not crazy in your face chocolate.
I think I like the peanut butter a little bit more than this.
I agree.
But they're both very good. I mean, it's like 1A, 1B.
I agree.
So.
Yep.
All right, so moving on to a little bit different. So we got, this time it's the vanilla ice cream. So vanilla and chocolate have been the two staples to the series every year. This year they're doing vanilla ice cream, which is interesting. I guess I'm not really sure what that adds compared to just basic vanilla. But yeah.
Vanilla has been our favorite.
Yeah.
I bought 2 4-packs of this year with the expectation that it would be similar to the last few. So to the nose we go.
Ooh. To me, this has the strongest palate or on the nose that we've had so far. It's prominent. It's there. You're picking up that vanilla. You have that slight kind of bourbon-y behind it, but the vanilla really shines through in this one.
Yeah, it's not super heavy, but I would say it's been the easiest component to pick out on the nose than the chocolate or the peanut butter.
Yeah.
It's clearly vanilla.
Yeah.
All right, let's try it. Cheers. Yeah.
Oh, man. So, that's good.
Yeah, it is. I think it's slightly different than the past couple years. I do get a little bit more of like a vanilla ice cream-ish character to it.
No, there's definitely a difference there. It's really good though, and I would say the vanilla hits earlier on in the palate than the peanut butter and the chocolate. And it's not a sweet vanilla. It's a very creamy, fluffy, delicious vanilla. They did this one right. They always do the vanilla one really well, and this one they did really good.
Yeah, I think to your point, the vanilla does hit. It hits about the same time as the bourbon on the front end. I would say it finishes lighter on vanilla out the back, but you definitely still get it out the back end. This is my favorite adjunct so far,
I would agree.
and I expected it to be, but it lived up to that expectation.
They did a coffee beer. I think it was part of the Mystic Knot series last year. They had affogato. You know what I'm talking about? The one starting A.
The Mystic Affogato.
Yes. This vanilla reminds me of that.
Yeah.
You know, it's just that without the coffee, which I'm excited because we got coffee next. But it's that same kind of really creamy vanilla flavoring to it. So.
Yeah, this is really good. If you can snag a 4-pack of this and you like vanilla stouts in your stouts, this kicks it up a notch for sure. All right, so last adjunct-only beer we've got here, this is the coffee variant. So essentially they took local coffee. I don't know if it says on the can, actually, who the coffee company was. I can't remember.
Let me hear if it's going to be anything.
No, it just says coffee. It's local. I know it's local coffee, and essentially what they do is they take the same beer, right, and they steep that coffee in the beer. So I will say I tried this. I tried this at their barrel-aged beer class a few weeks ago, and it was pretty intense. So we'll see what we think here out of the can. To the nose.
Oh.
Yep. So I remember.
Heavy coffee.
Yep.
Holy cow.
It smells like Mystic Knot.
It does. It really does. Which is a great series that Third Space also does. So that's another one we would recommend.
Yeah, we've reviewed several hues.
Yeah.
Link in the description of the Mystic Knot series.
Man, it's good coffee though. It's
Super.
not like that harsh, like bitter. It's like sometimes coffee notes in beer can get almost like a spicy flavor.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This it smells like your morning coffee.
Smells like fresh ground coffee. Yep, for sure.
Man, that's right.
Let's try it out. Cheers. Yeah.
Oh, that's good. The bourbon adds a nice the bourbon characteristics add kind of nice creaminess and smooth it out. You get a really, really, really good coffee taste without the bitterness that coffee sometimes offers.
What I like about this versus Mystic Knot is when I've had Mystic Knot in the past, I've always felt like the bourbon is buried, and it's definitely here. You can taste it on the palate, but that coffee is intense.
Yeah.
It's super, super coffee forward. Now, the one concern I have about this beer right here is as tame as the first four were, and what we got from the adjuncts, how do you overcome that coffee? I think the biggest problem I've seen with Third Space and their Mystic Knot series is when they've done the adjunct-based beers, the coffee has overshadowed so much of what's going on in the rest of the beer that you lose some of those other components. This is intense coffee.
I think that's fair. I think it's a good problem because it's not like it's a bad coffee flavor.
Yeah.
You know, when
No.
you say problem, but the one thing I'll say is again, now that we've had all the different adjuncts we've kind of gone through, we got the peanut butter and the chocolate mid palate to end palate. We got the vanilla and the coffee up front. So you kind of get that little preview of what to expect now, and now you can kind of really dive into the last one, saying, is that what I'm getting now throughout? And I think by having that chocolate and peanut butter come out late, which I don't know if that's done intentionally or how it's done or what makes that happen, but I think that's going to kind of ease some of that coffee flavoring to it and kind of smooth everything out the back end of the palate. Is what I'm expecting with the final Mudslide beer. I don't think I've ever had a Mudslide. I don't even know what it is, to be honest with you. As I'm doing this.
I don't think I have either. I think it's a drink. I'm pretty sure it's a drink.
All right.
It's an alcoholic drink with all these components in it. And ice cream. Yeah, in fact, I know that's what it is. Yes, that is what it is. You want to know how we can find out what it does taste like? Is to drink it. So
Let's do that.
Let's get a little nose on it first.
Sorry. See, I'm not getting a heavy coffee.
You're not.
You're getting a good vanilla in there. I'm getting the chocolate actually more now than I was in the beginning.
Yeah, chocolate and vanilla.
Yeah. Nope, I'm not getting any peanut butter in the nose. I'm getting a little coffee, but it's not really strong.
I'm not even really getting much coffee. But I just came off the nose of that one
Yeah.
that was just like intense, so.
Man, that smells good though.
It does smell good. And I wonder too, maybe with the coffee, when they finally blended this, right, they blended it down to a degree where you're going to keep that coffee a little bit more subtle into the mix. So I guess let's find out.
All right, cheers. Ooh.
It's complex.
Yeah. The coffee is definitely there more on the palate. You get the coffee, but there's definitely the vanilla. There's definitely the chocolate. Peanut butter, I'm not getting a lot of peanut butter. Maybe the late end of the palate. But the flavors are all there. Everything we had just now is definitely here. You can definitely taste it.
There's like very subtle. I would never guess peanut butter.
Yeah.
But knowing that it's in here and having tasted it, I get it a little bit on the palate. But for the most part, to your point, I would say it's coffee, vanilla. It's coffee, vanilla, bourbon up front, and then it is chocolate, a little bit of peanut butter, and vanilla out the back.
And I think you said something that's kind of important with this. The bourbon doesn't get lost in this series. The bourbon's there throughout this entire series in a very good, like, well-balanced way. It's not heavy. It's not like, doesn't taste overly boozy in any way, but you can definitely tell the bourbon's there. And I think they do a really good job of ensuring that sticks through this entire series and not lost in any sort of flavor.
Yeah, it's tasty. When I was at Third Space a couple of weeks ago, they had all of these, I think, still available to purchase in store, and they had them on tap, or at least several of them on tap. So check it out. If you're not aware of this series, this is a fun one to dive into. We look forward to this every year. Glad they continue to keep bringing it back. Very curious to see what they decide to do next year.
Yeah.
But these were all tasty beers. They were all good. We've got a lot of Mudslide to drink because these come in 4-packs. So, lots of good bourbon barrel aged beer to drink from Third Space.
It's another good problem to have.
That's another good problem to have. Well, good stuff. Hey, Third Space, great job again this year. This is a lot of fun. If you've tried these beers, let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear what you think about these series. Did you try the German chocolate cake? Did you try the mocha pie? Have you tried Mystic Knot? Any of the stuff we've talked about today. Links will be in the description for our reviews of all of those beers as well. So check us out on the rest of our social media channels. We are on Untappd, we are on Facebook, we are on Twitter, we are on Instagram, and we are also here on YouTube, as you can tell. So like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see all of you in a future episode.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.